I'm fucking sick of you, Forrest. Fucking sick of you. What's up, dude?
What's up? I got my light on right now, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, me too. We're already live. All right. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
What's going on? Kenson, you guys know each other. Kenson from Epzeronine and Ian Heydecke from Ian Heydecke.
Yeah, we've done podcasts before.
Yeah, we've done this stuff before.
Yes,
What's
we
up,
have.
fellas? What's happening?
Lots of good stuff has been happening, as you can tell.
God. And we're actually, Xavier is going to be joining us too. So I just sent him the link because apparently Martin called him up and cursed him out.
Martin did indeed.
So, yeah. So we got a lot to get to. So I'm not going to handle this like a regular shooting the breeze because a lot happened over the weekend at the Arnold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to handle it a little differently like I handled Muscle Talk when I was on Muscular Development. So I'm going to be the point guard. I'm going to bring up the topic, and then I'm going to pass it off to one of you guys to score. That's how we're going to do it. Otherwise, we'll fucking be here all day because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major topics to cover, and obviously the majority of them is going to be fucking Martin. But so I couldn't do a live feed this weekend because I had to work and I had to go to a wake on Saturday, so I wasn't able to. But I ran home and I jumped on EP09 because he was doing a live feed, and I was as shocked as anybody else when Hadi was announced third, and then Andrew was first. That was like a shocker to me. Now, so basically, Martin has basically, overshadowed everything. Everybody's just talking about Martin. So I want to talk about Martin, but I want to talk about Andrew, Hadi, Sam Sulik, Mike Sommerfeld, a bunch of other shit. So first things first, Andrew jacked. Kenson, did he deserve the victory?
Yes, Andrew Jack did deserve the victory. And the reason that he deserved the victory is because he had his clear path to victory. I've talked about it 1,000 times over the last week, okay? Andrew Jack has a path to victory that other bodybuilders do not have the privilege of even considering, because part of his path to victory is having his shape with enough conditioning. He doesn't need to be the most shredded guy on stage. He just has to bring enough, and his shape does get him into the winner's circle, clearly. Now, he filled out his frame. He had to do things for sure, and he did have to get to that at least. I don't want to say passable because that's incorrect, but he doesn't have to be ultra shredded. You guys know what I mean. That is why he was deserving of the victory.
Ian, what do you think?
No, I don't think he should have won, actually. I mean, to me, like when I looked at the scorecard, he was winning the whole entire thing. No way. I mean, to me personally, I thought Nick and Hadi were 1 and 2. I definitely Nick was number 2 to me. He could have pushed for number 1. I think sometimes with his posing, his stomach comes out just a little bit, and that's what also hurts.
Right.
But I thought Hadi would have won. I mean, yes, Andrew is phenomenal. That's what we all know, that he's a freak of freaks, just like Samson. Samson doesn't have to be the best. He has to be the most shredded, but he just has enough conditioning, which I think, he could have won that too. But I thought Hadi was going to win because he looked more the details and everything else.
Yeah, I agree. I think the majority of the people had Nick and Hadi in 1 and 2, but I think what's happening is a lot of people are going back and kind of re-looking and so on and so forth, and figuring out, how did this happen? Now, I was scratching my. I still agree with Ian. I haven't changed my mind. I don't think Andrew deserved the victory, but that being said, a lot of people do. If you look at my comments when I did the wrap up, it was like half people said Andrew deserved it, and half of the other people said either Hadi or Nick deserved it. Kenson, did you think during prejudging Andrew was in the lead?
100% not. I was absolutely shocked when I saw the official scorecards, and Andrew wasn't just ahead at prejudging on the judges' scorecards, but he was an entire 3 points ahead.
Yeah.
I did not understand that. I still do not understand that. And the majority of the bodybuilding world reacted without understanding as well. It didn't make any sense. Nick was clearly ahead of everybody else. And when we talk about paths to victory, Nick has his as well. Nick shows up ultra shredded and everybody else shows up off, and Nick can win. Nick can win. If Hadi, Martin, and Andrew didn't show up better at the finals, we would probably be talking about Nick Walker being the winner at the show. Honestly, I don't think that Andrew would have been given the victory if he didn't make some improvements.
But I don't know, but they had him in the lead in prejudging. Like,
it's ridiculous, man. It's
I know.
I could not. It's incorrect in my opinion. Ridiculously incorrect. I couldn't understand it. But one thing I do want to say though is when your original question of why did Andrew deserve it? That's why he deserved it. But I had Nick winning as well. I had Nick well ahead at prejudging, and I had him win in the finals too. Yeah.
As soon as it happened, me and Ian were talking, and I remember Ian. I called Ian immediately. Me and Ian is the first friend I've made in bodybuilding when I moved to Jersey, which was like 2011, like literally, right? We used to go to the same gym together. Anyway, so he called me right away, and we were talking. And I said, maybe the Arnold just likes more of an aesthetic, pleasing physique. They've had Cedric and so on and so forth. And they, maybe that they just like that more aesthetically pleasing physique. They don't want to go for the mass monsters. And then Ian said, but they had Derek over Sampson last year. And I went, yeah, there goes that. That goes right out the window. So the scoring, it just baffled me that he had him in the lead from the beginning. Because all right, let's take it shot for shot. Okay. If you want to give Andrew all 3 front shots, right? Front relaxed, abs and thighs, front double bi. If you want to give, it's my opinion. If you want to give Andrew all 3 of those shots, I'm with you. But I don't think he beats either one of them in any of the side or back shots. What do you think, Kenson?
Well, I think you got to give Andrew the front lat spread. It's tough to not give him that one,
No, 100%. Yeah, the front, the front shots, I could give him all day long. Yeah.
Yeah, but not the side shots. And certainly, most definitely, nobody was defeating Nick Walker from the back on that fucking Arnold Classic 2026 stage. It wasn't happening. Nick wasn't just doing well from the back. Nick was destroying everybody. It wasn't even close. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say Nick. Okay, so if you put the shots, Nick wins basically the back and sides because of just the thickness and the density and the maturity of the muscle by far. Andrew, like you said,
and the most
Andrew from the front
too.
is Mr. O.
Oh.
Yeah,
right.
Like you said, yeah. Andrew from the front is Mr. O. Like you say, if you see him, he's a statue. He's the front. He's Mr. O. Once he starts turning to the side and back, it's over.
Yeah, I fully agree. Ian, you always have
sorry to cut you off, but that's Nick's beat shots too.
Say that again.
That's Nick's. Those are his bad poses or his front shots.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no question. His front was that's his Achilles heel. His Achilles heel is his wide midsection. If he had, if his midsection was an inch or two, nobody'd be beating him ever, right? But that's his front shots are his Achilles heel. And I think what was funny is that I had Mac Truck on it, and we were watching Nick work out, and he was doing leg presses, but he was doing them very wide and very far apart. And I said, Mac, why do you think he's doing this? And he said he's actually doing this for his adductors, his hamstrings from the back, because he's trying to make his strong points even stronger, so it makes it even more difficult to deny him. because he knows he has that waist problem, and there's really not much he could do about the structure. But if he makes his best shots even better, which he obviously accomplished, and everybody thought that he took home the W, and it just didn't work. It did the judging, and Andrew went. Now I don't listen. Andrew is nothing but class, and he does. And congratulations to Andrew Jacked. The guy just fucking is nothing but class. He is never bitch. He doesn't moan. He just fucking goes back to work, and he hits the gym, and he hits it hard. So I don't want to take anything away from the guy. But this was one of the more controversial calls in a while. The other thing that I want to bring up about the call is Nick Walker. His professionalism in class is undeniable at this point. Like you could see why he's everybody's favorite bodybuilder. So what I mean by that is when they called Hadi in third, Nick thought he was winning, right? He's like, he thought he was winning. Everybody thought he was winning when they called Hadi in third. It's like, oh shit, this is Nick's show. And then they call Andrew winning and him in second. That has to be like a punch to the gut. And he still handled it with professionalism and class and respect. And even said that Andrew gave Andrew all the respect in the world. Kenson, what do you think?
No, it was very easy, I will say, to really look like you've got a bit of class or self-control for that matter, compared to what Martin displayed on stage. So that helped. But no, look, Nick, yeah, for sure. No, look, Nick did exactly what is expected of a professional athlete at this level that's been around the block, at the highest level. Nick handled it very well. And let's not kid ourselves. Yes, Nick did not win $750,000, but Nick did win $250,000. So Nick cannot walk away angry, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Like he can be, he you can be like, oh, motherfucker, like I could have had 750. Well, you're still going home with 250, dude. Like Nick's going to be just fine, buddy. Nick is good to go. Trust me. Yeah. And I still think that Nick is going to be able to, build on this, right up until the Olympia, which is not necessarily the situation 100%. He was in this time last year. So Nick Walker is at the top of the bodybuilding game right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian, you always have like the inside scoop of things. Have you heard anything from anybody, from any of your sources about the actual scorecard, about why they scored it the way they did?
Haven't heard anything yet, but like I said, Tyler Mannion put out the scorecard, so for all of us to see. Right. And from what I've sent you on videos, they showed it. Like, did we see something differently than everybody else thought? Because, they showed it that he won. Andrew was winning everything.
Right.
I mean, we all know we're different. Maybe because we're watching from a telecast or we're watching from somewhere, but. Even people who I know, like I was following through people who were there, and they were like, "Nick is looking wild. Hadi's look at this. Andrew looks good," but no one saw him winning.
Yeah,
this was not controversial. It was well understood. Like the opinion was pretty uniform across the bodybuilding world after prejudging that Nick definitely won. Like not many people said Andrew, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I thought they were going to give it to Hadi, especially during the finals. But it is what it is. Now, last thing about Andrew Jack. Kenson, do you think they're just setting a different standard now? Or they want to set a different standard?
I think regardless of if that's what the judges were trying to accomplish, I think that that's definitely the public perception now. And I think that's going to have an influence on competitors, on the viewing audience. It's going to be a message that continues to spread. So, yeah, I think there's definitely that possibility. But I got trouble buying into the whole, politics thing of sitting down. Ever since I had Bob Ciccarello on, man, honestly, I think guy ruined me. Like, what is this new standard that they are all agreeing upon? Like, did everybody show up at the IFBB Pro headquarters and sat down and said, okay, From now on, we want the aesthetic guys. We don't want the fucking mass monsters in it. Like, I think it's a natural progression more than it is necessarily a planned progression, you know, and it's proper. We see these things happen within bodybuilding, and bodybuilding is getting better physiques because of it. So this is, at the end of the day, I think overall it's a good thing for bodybuilding. It's a very good standard.
Okay. I hope not, because I'm a fan of the freaks. I've always been a fan of the freaks. You know?
So am I. Don't get me wrong. And they have their place.
Don't get me wrong.
No, but that's the other thing about the Arnold Classic that I do want to say. Nick did take second. He didn't win, but I mean, the guy did take second, right?
That's
so,
true.
I mean,
That's
there is a place for, there's definitely a place for the mass monster. I'm right with you, John. I am. Trust me, dude. Crizzo, Nick, these are my personal favorites, right? But it's not about my personal favorites, even though they still have a serious place at the top level of bodybuilding. 100%. They're not going anywhere.
All right, so let's get to the elephant in the room. Martin Fitzwater. I mean, just disgraced himself. I don't know, just absolutely disgraced himself. Look, I'll just say this, and then I'll pass it off. A man has to be able to control his feelings. You have to be able to control your emotions. Otherwise, you're just a child. And controlling your emotions when you're winning is easy, right? That's easy. Controlling your emotions when you're losing, when you feel like the world is coming crushing down on you, that's when it's difficult. That's when you separate the men from the boys. Martin really showed, and I'm gonna come down hard on him, right? But this is not an isolated incident, okay? Martin really showed who he is, his true colors. But this is not an isolated incident. He's been arrested for drugs. He's had problems with Nick in the past. He's had problems with Andrew Jack in the past. He's had problems with Giles in the past. He had problems with YouTubers in the past. He has called up Xavier and cursed him out on the phone. He's blocked me. He's blocked Xavier. He's blocked Muscle Discord. He's blocked Hostile. And the funniest part is that when you, Kenton, did he block you?
No, I don't think he knows who I am. So I'm good.
The funniest part is the interview he did with Dave on RX Muscle. I mean, you want to talk about gaslighting the world, like basically saying that we're the ones bitching and moaning. We're the ones that can't control our emotions. And it's like, wow. It's almost like dating a toxic woman. And you're just going, what the fuck are you talking about? And then they just play the victim and they tell you that you're the problem. And it was just unbelievable. Now, the thing is, when you act that way, which he acted just horrible, and it's horrible for the sport, you suffer consequences. And that's when I'm going to pass it off to Ian. Go ahead.
I mean, he looked like a petulant child.
Yeah.
Basically. Like, come on. You saw when they were going backstage, they showed a slow down video of him saying something to Nick.
Did anybody know what he said? Or
I was trying to figure it out, but
Nick is classy enough not to keep it. Nick is classy enough to keep it to himself. That's the thing.
Right.
Well, I've heard that apparently it was Martin saying repeatedly, I hate you to Nick.
Well, guess what? Now because you hate that person, now they one-up you again. Right. Now go cry. Now go cry in your corner. Okay. Firstly, let's just be very nice. I hope he doesn't have any mental issues. Because I don't want him to do something to himself because of this. So
well, let me I want to get to that real quick. I don't mean to cut you off, Ian. I know I said I was gonna, but I want to make this point. If you guys could see, so it's just so people don't think I'm talking out of my ass. If you guys could see those 2 degrees behind me, right? Okay. One of them is in psychology. Okay. So I have a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in business. So it's not like I'm talking out of my ass, just saying. But statistically, when you talk about, self-deletion, we can't say the word on YouTube. Okay. 70% of men 70% of self-deletion is from men. And the large majority of those self-deletions, they don't make a statement. Nobody knows that it's happening. They're suffering and dying inside. And then they usually use firearms, and they usually just end it. Women attempt self-deletion more. That seems to be more of a cry for help. Okay? So one of the examples I'm going to bring up, which was very sad, was help me out, Ian. The guy that was on Hostel with Fuad when they first started.
Oh, Neil Curry.
No. The guy who ended it.
Yeah, Neil Curry.
Luke Sandow. No, Luke Sandow.
Oh, Luke Sandow. Luke Sandow. Sorry.
Yeah.
Luke Sandow. Yeah.
Nobody saw that coming.
No.
Nobody saw that coming. That's usually how men do it. Men are suffering inside, and they don't express themselves. They suppress their emotion. They give up. They usually give up hope and then decide it's over. Martin crying and then putting goodbye on is, generally speaking, a sign of want to cry for help, victimhood, or attention. So we don't know. It's one of those three. But generally speaking, when a man wants to really end it, he just ends it. It's over, right? So I'm not really buying that he's going to do anything like that, right? I do think he needs help. So this is going to end. This could end one of two ways, all right? And then I'm going to pass it off to Kenson. This could end one of two ways. One, he could just basically go off into the sunset. We don't know what happens to him, and he could be the bodybuilder that never was, right? The guy who never fulfilled his potential, the guy who never did, and who knows? Hopefully, he doesn't get into more and more problems. Or he could take some time, get some help, rebrand himself, and come back. And we've seen athletes do this. We've seen top professional athletes that suffered and then had to take some time off. George Foreman was the perfect example. George Foreman suffered a defeat from Muhammad Ali, went into a bad depression, took him 10 years, but then he came back and he was a different person, became the heavyweight champion. There is a possibility where he can reignite his career, but he's going to have to get some serious help and understand that only he is responsible for his emotions and his actions and his consequences. Go ahead, Kenton.
No, look, I agree. If there is professional help that he needs to seek, then he should certainly go ahead and do that. That's been the sentiment around the bodybuilding world as well. You know, there's been one consistent message, and that is, if Martin does need help, then he should certainly seek it, you know, if that is the case. One thing that I actually thought about that I haven't highlighted in anything that I've put out so far is, you know, if Martin was to look on the positive side of things, you know, the people around him, if they were to sit him down and say, dude, look, I know you're upset, but you did just take 4th at the Arnold Classic. I mean, that's not nothing. I mean, it's a disappointment when you're so driven and ambitious, but those are positive qualities, you know? It's just simply the outburst that really doesn't allow him to focus on the things that he did just accomplish. 4th place at the Arnold Classic, Ohio is still pretty fucking good, dude. And it doesn't take away from... Exactly. It does not take away from the fact that he has defeated Samson Dauda within the last few months, really, right? So we know what he can do. There's good that he could take away from this. So if Martin is out there and he's trying to focus on something other than this extreme anger that he's feeling, dude, you just took 4th, you know? You just beat Samson a few months ago. There's still, how many months until the Olympia? What, like 10 months? Like,
yeah, you got plenty of time.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time.
Fine, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
he has
what's
to.
Palumbo says, go have a burger, you know, you'll feel better. I don't know, man.
No, it's not that easy. This is not an isolated incident. Okay. He is always, and, you know, also don't, there was also another issue with Martin that I can't put my finger on.
I know one.
Which one? Go ahead.
Well, there was one where he tried to quit before, delete himself off of social media, and his training partner had to reconvince him to go back on.
Oh, Brett Wilkins. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm thinking of the rumor he started backstage at the Olympia with Derek.
No, there's many of times where this guy, you can definitely tell when he's, and you notice when he's on, you can tell that there's a big smile on his face and everything.
Yeah.
When he's slightly off, everything is downhill.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can see it.
It's listen, like I said, it's very easy to be positive when you're winning. It's when you're losing, even in life, especially being a man. I really want to drive this part home. If you are a man, you are responsible for other people in your life, whether it's your kids, your girlfriend, your parents, the people around you. And you have to be strong during times when things are down. Life is hard. Life is going to hit you hard. It's easy to be fucking uplifting and motivational when you're on top and you're winning and you're being the best. That's easy. It's the times where the fucking life kicks you in the balls where you have to be able to be emotionally stable and keep on going and just keep on going. You know, in real life, in athletes, it's when you lose in a contest like this. But in real life, for example, I always use this example because we're all going to go through this. Somebody close passes. You're married, you have children, and somebody close passes, and your wife and kids are a mess. You're the one that has to pick up the pieces. You're the one that has to plan everything. You're the one that has to be strong. If you can't do that as a man, then you are nothing but a child. Martin literally conducted himself like an 8-year-old girl. And the other thing is, if he doesn't start taking accountability for his actions, he'll never change. The first thing that happens when you go into Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, a drug rehabilitation center, the first thing they make you do is stand up and say what? I am an alcoholic. I am a drug user. That's the first step, because if you can't be accountable and it's everybody else's problems, then you're not going to be able to take the next step to fix it. Now, he suffered big consequences. So, Ian, go ahead. Tell us what happened today.
Well, so it first started with Elevate, said we're no longer part of that. And then probably less than 2 hours ago, Raw dropped him.
Yeah.
But we had a feeling Raw was going to drop him because C-Bum was not playing with that. You're not trying to make this brand look bad. And if they would have kept him,
talk about class act. C-Bum is the fucking pinnacle of class.
Right.
So
just imagine if they kept him. You know what would have happened? Nobody would have supported Raw. Right.
Absolutely. Look, companies don't give a shit about, they care about the bottom line. I know if Martin would have stayed on Raw, I know I wouldn't have bought any Raw products. I know plenty of people wouldn't have bought it because now he is literally crossed the line and he is officially the villain. And people don't want to support the bad guy, especially in bodybuilding. They want to support the uplifting, hardworking guys like Nick, like Andrew, like Samson. And so he's going to have to really do some serious soul searching if he wants to reignite his career. And I think the best thing for him to do is just disappear. Just go away. Stay off social media. Don't talk to anybody. Get yourself some help. And then maybe...
So is he...
Maybe a year from now, you can get back on stage. 2 years from now, and maybe you could reignite your career. But if he doesn't, he keeps going the way that is happening. The next step is that the IFBB is going to ban him altogether.
Great Titus 2.0.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. So, Kenton, go ahead. You get the last word on this one.
The last word on this one. This is not going to be the last word on this topic. I feel like this is going to go on for quite some time.
Yeah.
I really do hope the guy gets whatever help it is that he needs, or finds some sort of peace in his fucking life, dude. Because it seems like it's more of a rarity to have that, and I'm glad that I do have. I can actually say a decent amount of stability and enjoyment within my life. And I was in places where Martin was before, not to his extreme, but I know what it's like to go through anger and shit like that. It's not fun. It's not good for you, and it's going to come down to him wanting to make the choice to work on himself. And that's what it's going to be. I mean, look, and we all lose. That's the other thing I wanted to say. Eventually, like you said, John, one way or another, all of us lose. We all have to handle it. Learn how to handle it. You'll fucking live longer, man.
And you know what? You will get fulfillment as a man if you are the person that people could come to during tough times.
You're right. You will.
You will have true fulfillment if people could come to you during tough times, when somebody dies, when there's a terrible disease, when there's a financial issue, and people could depend on you, your wife, your children, other family members. That puts you, what they're basically saying is, we put you at the top of the hierarchy. You're the person we respect and go to for help. That's powerful. And that's what most men need to do. And we could see that is the type of guy Nick is. That's the type of guy Andrew is. That's the type of guy Samson is. Obviously, Martin has a long way to go if he's ever going to be there. But I'm going to segue to Hadi now. If Martin didn't act the way he acted, we'd be talking about what a sore loser Hadi is right now. Because he literally said after he came in third, I'm taking my ball and going home. And then a few hours later, he's like, all right, no, I'm not. I'll still be around. Like, he literally retired after suffering that loss. And then finally, I don't know if he probably just calmed down from his emotions and was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm not retired. Right. But he's another one who has, in the past, not as bad as Martin, who has problems dealing with losses. Right. Go ahead, Ian.
What I was going to say is that he didn't mind losing to Samson at the Olympia, but he didn't mind losing to Derek.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, could have been a time the Evogen thing where Derek was part of that, and they're both working with Hadi at the time, maybe. But like I said, this is the same man who we saw disappear, and they're like, "Oh, you're second," and he, just did this to Weinberger, like, "I don't want to talk to you."
Right.
Yeah. Just if you want, but there was a word in the camp said that he was going to do one more show.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. But then he's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go. I'm already. He was already on the calendar and on the poster for, I think, the Arnold UK.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Now you can give Hadi a pass this time around because of the immense stress and pressure he went through with the war in Iran, his family, his supporters dropping him, and he still came to fucking win. I mean, he was off maybe 5 to 10% off, but he still came to win. If you want to give him a pass, but again, this is not the first time he's kind of crashed out and couldn't handle losing. Go ahead, Kenson. What do you think?
No, you're right. The guy's been through a lot. There's no question. The fact of the matter is, though, the way that he showed up on stage was he had a warranted third place. I mean, his conditioning was way off from what it was when we saw him, take your pick, Arnold Classic 24, Olympia 25. Up till this point, I mean, this was probably the worst of Hadi that we've seen in literally years. So that's got to be a tough one for him as well, like you said, right? But is it time for him to retire? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Hadi still has a ridiculously long, I still think he has 3 good years minimum. I think he could keep going. Yeah, the guy's an animal. He really, the guy's a fucking animal, dude. You watched him train, John. It is crazy, right?
It's insane.
It's insane, the thing that the guy, at a week out of the show, he'll do strip sets on hack squat, or not hack squat, on Smith machine squats, and he'll do 8 plate rows with not great form, as everybody likes to point out. But regardless, I mean, a week out, nobody's doing that shit. He's still and one bad showing of less than what we're typically, or less of what we typically expect from Hadi is not a reason to retire. That is absolutely not. Do it 3 or 4 times and okay, maybe it's fallen off a bit.
Yeah. Well, agreed. He's not at the top of his career. Do I think he's going to make any more gains and get better? No, I think he's at the top of his career, and he definitely has, like you said, another 2-3 years left in him, and he's definitely got gas in the tank left. There's no reason for him to retire. Absolutely not. All right. Brandon Curry. I thought Brandon Curry should have been in 4th place. I don't think he should have been.
Same here. Same here.
So, Ian, why do you think he was somewhat overlooked? Especially being a former Mr. Olympia, former Arnold Classic champion.
I don't know. That's a good question. I think sometimes they think, oh, yeah, this is Brandon Curry, whatever. I mean, maybe because they saw the last showing of this is who it was. But I'm like, okay, Nick did beat Brandon barely at the Olympia. But still, I think he should have been 4th instead of Martin.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Something. And I would say anybody after 40, his legs have improved.
Yeah, how
also,
old
once
is he?
you hit 40,
be in his mid 40s at this point, right?
I think he's 45.
Let me see. He's got to be up there, and he's still placing in the top 5 in the Olympia and the Arnold. That's fucking good.
He
man.
said the one thing he did say was for his legs. He said was he knew certain muscles could respond quickly, like his chest. So he said I would train my chest after quads because he wanted enough stimulus in the quads to make sure they grow because he knew his chest was always developed right. He could do a little bit and get enough.
It says he's 43. He's another guy who talk about class and respect and hard work. Like he literally decided when he won Mr. Olympia. Before that, he was kind of like a 2nd-tier bodybuilder. And he decided it's going to be all or nothing. I have a family to take care of. And he fucking went to Kuwait and just stayed there for I don't know how many years, made the improvements. His timing was very good. His timing was lucky. It was kind of a down period with competition with the Olympia, but it didn't matter because he still pulled it off. And then he still pulled it off, wins 2 Arnold Classics, loses the Olympia the following year. And you got to also remember, it was COVID when he fucking won. So he wasn't even able to like travel, do guest posing, anything like that. You got to give Brandon Curry his fucking props. He is nothing but a consummate professional. He's another guy. Doesn't bitch, doesn't moan, just goes right back to the drawing board. People have written him off. People have written William Bonac off. And these guys just go right back to the fucking drawing board. And when you think that it's over, he comes back and it's like, oh shit, he's in the top 5 again. Boom. You know, these guys, they're blessed athletes with the work ethic and the temperament, and that's why their careers last so long and they're so on top. So go ahead, Kenson. What was your opinion on Brandon Curry this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, aside from the fact that Brandon is obviously the more likable, competitor between him and Martin, I do think he just had the better physique overall. I mean, if we're talking about aesthetics and that's why it won the show, then wouldn't it make more sense for Brandon to defeat Martin, given the fact that he did have more aesthetics than Martin did?
Good point.
I really think that the comparison during prejudging is what I did want to see. Luckily, they did do that comparison between Martin and Brandon at prejudging, where Martin had the dissatisfaction written all over his face the second he stepped off the line. It was absolutely ridiculous. But regardless, Brandon was the better physique, I feel. Even if they were to stand next to each other at the Olympia at this point, if Martin showed up like that, I don't think it would matter, especially given the fact that they are probably starting to award the real aesthetic physiques even outside of the Arnold. So he deserved 4th place. And like you guys said, making improvements at 43 years old, especially in the legs, which is the first body part to drop off in bodybuilding.
Right.
Unheard of, absolutely unheard of. Should be rewarded. He was the better physique. He deserved 4th place. Yeah.
Do you think he should go on and do something like the New York Pro or Pittsburgh or anything like that? Because you see, he's only been kind of doing, and not that he doesn't belong there. He clearly belongs at the Olympia and the Arnold Classic. Do you think he should do
Detroit? It's this week.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Jump in Detroit right now. Nick should jump in Detroit right now. Yeah. Why not? You're already in shape.
Yeah.
Jump in, get qualified. Brandon's qualified for life. We never have to worry about him.
Right. That's a
Nick
great
should jump in the show right now.
You're 100% right. Brandon should absolutely do Detroit this weekend. And I got news for you. He would do some serious fucking damage with the way he came in if he comes in the same way. And he's going to come in the same way. He doesn't really. You never see a super off Brandon. He always makes sure. He reminds me of Sean Clarita. Like he's a consummate professional. It just, he always makes sure that he is fucking on, and then you just really have to beat him. Like you gotta beat him. He's not gonna let you take it. And that's why I think so much, like Kent said, I think that's why so many people love him, and that's why so many people love guys like Nick and Andrew and so on and so forth.
I don't think that Brandon should do New York or Pittsburgh though, because I think that, it's funny now that you say, the aesthetics are being rewarded more, but my mind immediately went to the fact that Crizzo is doing both of those shows, and I think that Crizzo will defeat Brandon.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah, absolutely. But I think Detroit is definitely, that should be on his radar. Why not? You're in shape. They would love to have you.
I agree.
They would love to have. They would love to fucking have you. That's what Fuad show, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
and Fuad
I just heard
that Nick is not doing that show either. He said Nick's not doing it.
Okay, what were we gonna say, Ian?
I was gonna say, because there's not too much competition. I mean, Blessing is in it now.
No, actually, he is. Fuad said that
Blessing's in.
Oh, Blessing.
Blessing's in.
Okay.
I think
Blessing's in.
Brandon could be Blessing.
Yeah, let's say Brandon should join in. He should definitely jump in now.
Yeah, why not? It's money. You'll get some clout and fame. You won't be on the used to be great bodybuilder anymore. If you fucking win this, people start talking about you rather.
And I think Fuad gives about 25 to 30K for his show.
Yeah, fuck it. Do it. Why not?
Yeah, it's 25.
Yeah.
It's 25 this year. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. He should definitely do it. All right. I would love to know. I know I missed this one when we talked about Martin. I would love to know why Martin hates Nick so much. What is it about Nick that he hates so much?
Because Nick keeps whooping his ass.
Yeah, but everybody's whipping his ass at this point.
But you gotta think, Nick's been busting his ass for at least 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. But why him
constantly?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, beat him at New York, beat him at Pittsburgh. We didn't beat him at the Olympia. He didn't beat him at the Olympia though, right? More time. When did Martin come in?
Not this year. Not this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, not this year.
To say to somebody, I hate you, and then apparently there was some shoving backstage, and then there was a girl that got in between. I heard there's somebody, one of the tanning girls got in between them.
That's what I heard.
That's another thing. If Martin decides to put his hands on the wrong guy, that's not going to end well. It ended well. It ended well because Nick is in control of his emotions, and he is a consummate professional, and he wasn't going to let anything, throw him off that second place or first place victory that he thought he was going to have. But I mean, if he does that to the wrong bodybuilder, like, could you imagine? Could you imagine if he did that to the old school? Who was the bodybuilder, Ian, who was a Crip? I think he was a Crip. And Mike Christian.
Yeah, Mike Christian, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he would have laid him out right there. It would have been no...
Or Chris Cormier would have laid him out.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Christian had a reputation of getting arrested and getting out of jail and going right to Gold's to train. He was a real street dude.
Yep.
And if he just, he seems to, that's another thing about Martin. He seems to pick the guys that he knows won't push back. Giles, right? Like that was unheard of. Giles hitting Giles' phone. There was no reason for that whatsoever. He's got some serious growing up to do, and he's got to get help. Otherwise, his career's over. All right. I want to mention one other guy, then we'll get to Classic.
I'm surprised he hasn't reached out to Branch to help him out.
Well, obviously Branch wants nothing to do with him anymore. They tried to train together, right? And nobody knows why, because again, Branch is a very private guy, and I don't think Branch. It's just my estimation. I don't know, but Branch is a very private guy, And I don't think Branch he is all business. He's always been all business. He's always been a serious guy with serious ambition. And if you were going to train under his wing, you're going to train like him. He's not going to deal with it. So I'm under the impression that Branch just said, okay, this kid I'm not dealing with this kid anymore. What do you think, Kenson?
Oh yeah, most likely I would say. I mean, Martin has been burning that many bridges lately. I mean, it's unfathomable to even think that someone would consider going down this path. Literally telling everybody in front of you to basically fuck off is what the perception is. I mean, I haven't seen, like, he told everybody to fuck off in that post that he made. He ended up taking it down, but he was like, don't even congratulate me. Like, what do you mean, dude? Like, this is no joke. Like you said, man, it really is. It's no joke. He's got to get some help.
He does. If you can't handle being in the public spotlight, then don't. And you know what? Get out. Go do something else. And you know what? If that's the case, if your life is more stress-free, not being a public figure, then good for you, man. Like go, be a personal trainer, go do something else, whatever else. If this is really going to weigh on you and weigh on your stress this much and mental health, go do something else. Right?
Yeah, own a gym. Like, there's still other things you can do without being, like a big public figure, man. Like, own a chain of gyms, whatever it might be. Like, there's things you can do.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. I want to get to one bodybuilder that nobody's talking about, and he was a huge, huge disappointment. Hassan Mustafa.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what show he thought he was doing, but he literally looked like he was 8 weeks out. He looked like he did not fucking train, did not diet. It was unbelievable. Ian, what do you think? What could he possibly be thinking?
I mean, I heard he was dieting because he was going through Ramadan, and I said, he was?
Yep.
He didn't do anything.
That's right. He's Muslim. I forgot about that. Yeah,
he was.
So I'm looking at him like, well, why even step on stage? You should have said, hey, let me, you should have forfeited out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. He's starting to remind me of Lionel Messi.
Better than him.
Say that again, Ian?
I said we could have stepped on stage and did a better job than he did.
Yeah. We could have beat him. Yeah. No, he just showed, and he just showed up just awful, just absolutely awful. Like he put no fucking effort into this whatsoever. And you're on the biggest stage in the world. And it's lucky for him that Martin is overshadowing all this crap because nobody's talking about it. But he looked just absolutely awful. He literally looked like a fire hydrant. There was no shape. There was no symmetry. There was no conditioning. It was fucking off. Kenton, when you were doing the live feed, can you pick up what the audience reaction was? And what was Phil Heath's and Nick's from Nick Strength and Power's reaction when he came out? Do you remember?
For Nick and Phil, I wasn't listening to them that intently, no, but I can tell you that, the comment section in my live stream were really, the general consensus is that nobody was surprised. We've all come to expect this from Hassan Mustafa at this point. The conversation that used to take place surrounding him finally coming in shredded someday, finally nailing it. If that ever happens, then he's gonna be dangerous. Well, that conversation is over. Nobody wants to have that conversation anymore. But his legs actually, to me, looked worse than what they were last time. They looked even less shapely. They were starting to remind me of Nexzilla's legs. Like there's a ton of size, but there's no shape and there's no definition. His legs actually, I think, got worse, and I think his midsection actually got a little bit wider as well. So, like you said, Ian, going through Ramadan, shouldn't even bother. Pick a show that's not inside of Ramadan might be an idea, but whatever circumstances he had, he made the decision, and I don't think the Arnold will have him back. I'll put it that way. No,
that's another thing. Yes, good point. I don't think they're going to invite him back after that. That was a poor showing. Absolutely poor showing. Another guy.
That was an embarrassment.
Another guy who we thought was going to show up better was Rafael Brandao. Everybody thought he was going to show up a little. Okay, Ian.
Nope.
I'm sorry, Kenton.
I didn't.
Go ahead, Kenton.
Yeah. See, no, look, when Rafael Brandao has, you could say the same thing surrounding the conversation of him finally nailing it. I think that conversation is over for me. I don't think that he's going to make the improvements that are necessary. I think that he has the opposite problem of Hassan from a size standpoint and conditioning. He was better. There was detail, but you certainly wouldn't say he was conditioned, not by any stretch of the imagination. And I actually think that he's getting smaller, if I'm being honest with you. Like, he didn't look like he didn't make any improvements, and we've seen him better conditioned in the past as well. So he's continuously just not just not meeting expectations or fulfilling his potential. I think he's getting worse.
Yeah. One guy that did make improvements, it just wasn't good enough on this level of bodybuilding, was Mo Fuda. He clearly made improvements, but I don't think he is at this top tier level yet. I think he is I think he got another guy that should do Detroit, another guy that should do New York, another guy that should do Pittsburgh.
Well, he is doing Detroit.
He is doing Detroit, actually.
Oh, good. Because you can clearly see he's made improvements, but when you put him up against Andrew, Nick, Hadi, it's those guys. It's a different world. What'd you think of Mo Fuda, Ian?
I thought he was really good. I mean, you can definitely see that he needs a little more back thickness and width, because he would get beat by some of the bigger boys, with that. He's definitely got some, great qualities about him, but like you said, he's more of a second tier. He might be a $10,000 show guy for a little bit. I mean, until some of these other guys catch up to him. But like for him jumping into Detroit is a smart move. Maybe he'll win it.
Yeah. Last open guy I want to talk about, because he's a friend and I don't know what he's going to do. When I spoke to him, he didn't really have any plans for the future. He was going to keep competing. Kenton, Akeem Williams. What do you think his plan should be from here on in?
No, look, I think Akeem is at a point in his career where, to be completely honest with you, I think he can just keep doing what he's doing. I mean, I don't think there's a big expectation out there for Akeem to show up and be, this mind-blowing bodybuilder again. I think that, especially for a guy that's been in the game as long as he have, to go through the things that he has, he still shows up and he presents a very respectable physique. I mean, obviously the back needs to be improved. That's always been the case with Akeem. Again, expectations are proper with Akeem at this point. I think that he's still good for bodybuilding, and I think that as long as he can still showing up with a respectable physique, I think he should keep going. There's no delusions of him, I think, making it back to the Olympia or anything like that. But in the right lineup, he can continue to place top 3 at these pro shows. And I don't think anybody that has the potential to place top 3 at any given pro show should consider retiring.
Ian, what do you think?
I think Akeem seems like he wins a lot more shows during the European circuit, not here in the States. The States just seem like there's a lot more better competition for him. And with that being said, the Europeans are not saying not all Europeans, but like those shows, he's been winning those a lot lately.
Right. Yeah. Like
he might just do something like that to get his qualification. Then he can do whatever he wants. But that's what I've noticed. If you think the last shows he's won, if he won the big man in Portugal, he won Spain, he won a lot of shows out there. He hasn't done too many shows to win over here.
Right. And that's usually that's been his plan for the last few years is, he jumps into a second, third tier level show, wins it, gets the qualification, does the Olympia. Right.
We've seen lots of guys with that strategy, though. I mean, Regan Grimes played that card for many years, right? He'd do the European circuit. He'd show up at these, Italy Pro and take it home, and then you get to the Olympia. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You want to be strategic throughout the season. Pick a show that you can win to make it to the Olympia. You don't control who shows up. Like, you only hear strategically who may show up. So at the end of the day, you're putting your name down, and whoever shows up. And if you have to be the best bodybuilder on that day, well, guess what? You're going to the Olympia.
Yeah, well, 100%. I fully agree. All right. Classic physique. Obviously, Wesley looked amazing. Like the guy, probably the best Wesley we ever saw. And he has a beautiful classic physique. He clearly deserved the win. There's no question about it. But Mike Sommerfeld, if Mike Sommerfeld has this much of a problem making weight, why doesn't he just take some time and do open bodybuilding? His body obviously wants to grow. He has a beautiful frame. He has a beautiful physique. With another 10 to 15 pounds with that conditioning, he would be a force in the open. Why does he continuously just want to stay in classic when it doesn't seem to be suited for him? Ian.
I think he might be afraid to go to open. He might get trounced on.
Yeah, good point.
That's most of those people are like they'll go into one. We've seen this many of times where people try to think they can move up and they go back down.
Right.
Think about this. Look at Sadiq. He went from men's physique, won the classic, got his ass whooped, went back to physique.
Yeah, good point.
There's many guys who you can see them doing well. You're like, okay, let me see you do well. And there's some guys you're like, oh no, I got my butt whooped too much. I'll stay where I belong.
Yeah.
And he's one of those people where you can see now that new height requirement seemed like messed him up because he won the Olympia with that certain weight cap, and all of a sudden he didn't hit the height right, and now he's got to drop down even more. So now you're like, what are you going to do? Either you diet earlier, the Arnold, you know what's coming up. Everybody's going to be looking at you. Yeah. And everybody thought had you winning if you were coming in on time. And guess what? Rumor has it he might jump into Detroit.
Open or classic?
Classic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what? I think you just fucking nailed it. I did not think of that. I think he is a little nervous about jumping into the open, even if he takes 6 months to a year off. Kenton, what do you think?
He really only has so many options at this point. I mean, the two obvious ones to me, or I guess the two most beneficial ones for him would be either one, go to the open, accept the fact that your body wants to grow, and do the best that you can, considering the fact that you're going up against guys that are going to, essentially probably dwarf him, or finally accept the fact that you are not at that height category that you thought you were. Continue to strive for your 6 to 7 pounds lighter from when you showed up at the Arnold, and continue to be a serious contender for winning multiple Classic Physique Olympia titles and Arnold and Arnold Classic titles too, because I do still think that I agree with you, John, 100%. Wesley, as well as being one of my personal favorites in Classic, what I think the Classic standard should be, as long as he continues to improve on his legs, Mike is a force in Classic, and I think that he would probably rather be at the top end of Classic rather than, I don't know what he would even do when it comes to a pro show, honestly. What would he do? Top 5, between 5th, 7th, somewhere where you'd see maybe 3rd in some of these lineups, right? He needs to stick to Classic, I think. Like, accept the fact that you're not that tall, dude, and hit your weight, and that's still more than enough for you to come in and win, like I said, potentially multiple Olympias and multiple Arnold Classics in the future.
Xavier, what's up, man? We were just talking about Mike Sommerfeld.
What's going on?
Sorry, I'm late. The time zone shift. It was. I thought it was 1 p.m. my time.
Fuck yeah, that's right. I keep, I fucking forget about that all the time. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're gonna get back to you when it comes to Martin. We'll recircle Martin, but Mike Sommerfeld. We were just talking about why he won't do the open. Ian made a great point that he might be just a little afraid to do the open. And then Kenton said he doesn't really have too many choices at this point. He's either got to fucking really diet down, diet harder and earlier to make the weight, or go into open. But Xavier, if he diets down too hard, will he come in flat? Will he lose muscle? Because it looks to me that he's fucking ready. I don't know if he could pull any more weight off. What do you think, Xavier?
Yeah, I think at this point, if he's doing Classic, he has to diet away a little bit of muscle, because at the Olympia, like, he made it with that new weight cap, but he had to kill himself to get down to it, which is probably pretty dangerous, and it's probably not going to garner the best physique every time on stage, and it might be a little bit inconsistent. So he can do that and maybe atrophy a little bit of muscle. But the other option is, go to the open. But I think Neil Hill said that he has a bit of a health condition, or he's not able to take too much in the way of gear as well.
Oh, really?
Because of his health. So I don't know. He might be pulling himself down so much, though, that he actually even using a smaller amount of gear, maybe being in the open would be healthier. But I just feel like it's going to be hard for him to win a Classic Physique Olympia title if that's his ultimate goal. Staying in Classic if that's his height and weight restriction each time, because he can make minor improvements maybe if he downsizes the legs a little, but yeah, it's going to be hard for him no matter what he does. But I think 212 he could do pretty well in. I know Neil said he can't do 212 because he's too tall, but his weight cap now is what, 8 pounds under the 212.
What kind of health conditions have you heard?
I don't know if there's a gut issue or there's some sort of I know he had gut issues leading up to this one, but I remember Neil saying something like, oh no, he's not going to open because he would have to use more gear, and that wouldn't be good for his health, because he mentioned something. I can't remember exactly, so don't quote me on that.
If that's the case, then Kenton, he only has one choice, and that choice is he's going to have to stay in Classic and diet down even harder and possibly lose some muscle, because
but if you notice him, he's very bottom heavy.
Yes, amazing legs.
Bottom heavy.
Yeah.
Which adds so much weight to your physique too.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're 100% right. I just, I would love to see him. I would love to see him go to open, because I think with his physique and his X-frame and symmetry, I think he would, with another 10 pounds of muscle coming in that condition, I think he could really do well in an open show. But if it's the case that he really does have some kind of problem, illness, health issue, man, if you have a health issue,
just get better.
This is the wrong sport for you if you got a health issue, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
or it might just be
if you get a food allergy, it's not the.
Yeah, right.
If you get a food allergy, it's not the right sport for you, let alone, God knows what else, right?
Yeah. All right. Staying on Classic. Sam Sulek. I'm going to give you my opinion, and I'm going to be hard on him. And then again,
God, you hate Sam Sulek, man. You do.
Well,
why don't you just come out and say that you're a Sam Sulek hater? You may as well just tell everyone now.
Yeah. No, yeah. Let me explain why I can't wrap my head around the phenom that is Sam Sulek. Sam Sulek as a fitness influencer, I don't understand the craze. He is not exciting. He is very boring. There's no stigma behind him. There's nothing that would make somebody say, wow, they're crazy, or wow, we get why Larry Wheels is very popular. He's a fucking beast in the gym. We get why the Trent twins are popular. They're fucking nuts. I even understand why Unk and Hadi are popular at Diamond. The marketing that they put behind it, of this mystique of the most dangerous gym. I get it. It's like genius. I fucking get it. But with Sam Sulek, I never understood the hype over him, because he's so goddamn boring. Ian, how many people do we know at Signature that look like Sam Sulek? Right? And it's just they don't get any. It just blows me away. And then, so I don't understand that part. Then he tries to make and I got to give him I'll give him his props. I'll give him his just due. He tries to make the transition as an NPC. He wins the pro card, wins the Arnold Classic. And then he has a year off and he goes into the Arnold Classic Pro, which was a smart move. But he, after the top three guys at the Classic Physique, the talent kind of fell off a little bit, right? And Sam doesn't have a classic structure at all. He doesn't have a classic structure. And I don't think he's going to be able to put on the amount of muscle he needs to be dangerous in the open. Ian, go ahead. What do you think?
You don't think he'll ever be able to?
Get Ian. Give me.
What I was going to say is that Sam is a bodybuilder trapped in a physique in the Classic Physique. He maybe just used Classic Physique just to get into the IFBB, and then maybe we'll push on, because you can see watching the Arnold, the man can't even do mandatory poses.
Yeah, his posing is off too. Yeah, that's also
like, come on.
Yeah,
They teach you this. There's classes on this.
Yeah,
There's workshops we've seen on this. You can't even do mandatories correctly.
Yeah, especially at that level, you gotta,
I mean, you can see how everybody's looking. You're looking at him, you're like, bro, are you even trying?
Yeah.
Like, he looked, I mean, have at it. You did great. Hey, top 8, pretty good your first time doing this. But with the competition, you could definitely see from the first 3 guys, like you said, John, everybody else was down, because if you look at Sam, I'm like, he looked kind of small out there.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be able to make that change from an Instagram bodybuilder to that top tier guy on the stage. What do you think, Xavier?
Yeah, I mean, it's asking a lot. I mean, he's done a fair bit, I think, from like, he was an influencer and then he did the amateur show, got his pro card, which I think surprised a lot of people. It wasn't the most hotly contested, classic physique amateur show out there to get your pro card, which, you can only go against who he showed up against. But I think he made good improvements. The only thing is, like the posing, and maybe he's reluctant to get help on that, because he would be able to get all the free posing advice from probably anyone he wanted.
Anybody,
just about.
Oh,
and
one phone call.
What's the guy? Kenny Phillips. What's the guy? Kenny Walling.
Yeah.
He could have went to him. Say, here, pose like this.
Yeah. One phone call, anybody would have helped him. Go ahead, continue, Xavier. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't know why. I suppose maybe he gets so much. He'd be getting all sorts of offers. I mean, IFBB pros, they get offers for free posing, free coaching and stuff all the time. And he's probably like, I'm getting so many offers. Let's just block them all out. I'll do my own thing. And he's probably very comfortable in that. But it's not what's going to garner the best results. But he should probably, after this, go, my posing wasn't good. It was the worst on stage in the classic physique, pretty clearly. He should go, which posing coach do I like the look of? Go out and say, like, hey, dude. And he's got the money to pay him if he wants to just pay them as well. So I don't see why he doesn't do that. Conditioning was good, but honestly, like, if we're being realistic, he did get a gift. He shouldn't have placed ahead of the guy who was behind him. What's his name? Paul Canu, is it? Do you agree, Kenson?
Yeah, Paul Canu, yeah. Yeah.
Kenson, go ahead. Oh, yeah. Structure, physique, posing. Can he make the transition to open? Can he be an elite bodybuilder? Go ahead.
Yeah, look, you guys are right. I mean, Sam Sulek is the one guy that could probably get Hadi or Hani Rambo out of retirement kind of thing, But regardless of where he goes, if he stays in Classic or if he goes to Open, Sam needs 2 years off just to train and put on size. Go back to what he was doing before, to be completely honest with you, would be just fine. Hit record, drive to the gym, work out, eat a bunch of cereal or whatever the fuck you want to do, put on the muscle, and then come back. He's proven what he can do already, but like you guys said, he's very young. And I think with 2 years of growth that we would know at that point whether Sam is destined to stay in Classic or go to the Open. Perhaps. Like I said, he's still very young. So it might take longer, but regardless, he needs to put on the size, and he can also spend time working with the posing coach within that amount of time as well. So he can improve from many different angles of competitive bodybuilding within that 2 years while he's trying to put on that size. So it would only be a benefit for him.
No, absolutely. You're 100% right. Look how much better Andrew Jack's posing has gotten, because he's working with Aceto and he's also working with, help me out, the 212 guy.
Kamal Gargany.
Right, Kamal, and his posing, is a lot better now than it has been in the past. Okay, we're going to circle back to Martin because Xavier, was that a new phone call where he cursed you out this morning, or was that?
Yeah, that was a new one. Yeah, that's
a fresh one.
Wow. Yeah,
holy shit, man.
Tell us about the phone
I suppose
call.
like I did. Well, it wasn't a phone call. It was just a voice message he sent me on WhatsApp. But yeah, as soon as I saw the name pop up, it was like Martin. It was like ding. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't want to open it. I want to see just like how he responds or whatever. And then I just hear ding, and I'm like, and then soon after ding, I'm just like, oh fuck, here we go. Like, and I just
you knew you were just about to get told off. Yep.
Yeah, I went to the, like, I was like, I'm going to the grocery store. I don't really care. And then, you know, he told me to block him, which I'm like, that's weird to tell me to block him. And I'm like, okay. But by the time I went to block him, he'd blocked me already.
But you played it. Because I watched it this morning when I was driving it to work. You played it. What did he said? What, keep my fucking name out of your mouth? What did he say?
He said, of course, you would post something like that about him. And the only thing I posted, so to give context to it, I posted, I've been very, very kind in my coverage over the years to Martin. I've chosen to leave things out that I might report about someone else, which I don't even like doing because I like to be unbiased and try to be very impartial regardless of like friendships. But I've left stuff out, like his arrest. I didn't report on the Andrew Jack situation. That's when he's on my podcast. So naturally, it's going to be weird if I'm like talking to him on a podcast and be like, Martin Fitzwater said this about Andrew Jack. And there's a whole story behind the scenes about that as well. So it's like I was still in my video yesterday, I'm still holding back stuff, which is something that people don't really realize. So I could go in way harder if I wanted to, but I'm choosing not to. So when I got that message from Martin, I don't care. I don't lose a wink of sleep over it. Maybe if it was me 10 years ago, I would. But I got that message saying, of course you would report on something like that. You're just like all the other effing bodybuilding channels. You're just as bad as them, or whatever he said. And then he said, keep my name out of your effing mouth, Xavier. And I'm just like, dude, after I've had one run-in with Martin in the past as well. And after what I found out in that situation, I'm like, really? Like, what? He needs to take accountability for his own actions. That's the problem. And I actually feel empathy towards, because you got your medicine from what happened. But I think Martin needs a big like slap in the face like this to actually have the potential to make real lasting change, because he's gotten grace before after the Nick Walker situation where he basically said, I can't remember what he said exactly, so I don't want to misquote, but said basically like you're going to drop dead or something, or you're going to be dead before this age.
And
or whatever.
Yes, that's right.
He got grace there. He got grace with the Andrew Jack situation. He made a reputational complete comeback. And then it's just repeated things. And if it was just the on stage thing, okay, but then it's the backstage thing, and then it's the telling fuck themselves, and then it's telling, you know, it's just one thing after the other. And he's obviously in a bad headspace. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to pile on too much at this point. Like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's sort of tough because I'm always like empathetic towards people, but I suppose if they've fucked you, then you're just like, well, dude,
you know, and I want to make a point, and I want to say this, you know, Xavier is the nicest guy in the world. Like literally, Xavier wouldn't hurt a fly. He is, like he said, he literally would not report on things that happened even worse between Martin. I, on the other hand, did report on when he was arrested for the drug charges, and he blocked me immediately after that. He sent me a message saying you're a fake Nick Trigili, because this happened a couple of years ago when he was arrested. I went to go message him back and say, I don't do this Instagram shit.
Come on my show. Yeah.
Yeah, I said you can come on my show, but I was blocked by that point. He was on my show before that when he had first started. It was like right after the Andrew and Nick thing, like you said. He owned up to that on my show. I did report on him being arrested as if nobody's gonna find out. You know, I think the arrest was, I think it was steroids, and it might have been fentanyl. I'm not 100% sure, but it might have been fentanyl. Ian, do you remember that? I don't know if it was fentanyl, but I know it was definitely.
Yeah, I don't think fentanyl was in part of it, but it could have been. But it
maybe I'm wrong. Don't quote me on that, guys. You know, but
yeah, I think there's something else, but I don't know what it was.
Look it up.
Say that again, Xavier.
I think there was something else outside of like something recreational. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know how we beat the judge. I have no idea because it was in Texas too. So I don't know the circumstances behind it. But you know, it is what it is. But So the reason why I say Xavier is like the nicest guy in the world and he wouldn't hurt a fly and he gets along with everybody is you notice the kind of people that Xavier goes after. Like I didn't get a fucking phone call. I'm sure Fuad didn't get a phone call, but he'll go after Xavier knowing that he's a nice guy and maybe he fucking won't report it like he hasn't reported things in the past. That says something about a person's character. You know, you're really going after. You're a bully at that point. Do you know what I mean? And Xavier, I hope I'm not offending you. It's actually all good things because you are a great human being. And I'm not just saying that. I don't have people on my show who I don't think are good people. That's never going to happen. If you're a piece of shit, you're never getting invited back. And the 3 guys I have on have proved to me that they're fucking great people, right? Okay. It is what it is. But it just seems like Martin is really setting himself up as the bully, the villain, lacking the accountability, and he's suffering the circumstances from it now. You know, and everybody has dropped him, and you know he's almost like he's not starting over from scratch. He's starting in the red now. He's starting way behind the starting line at this point. If he decides that he wants to, you know, try and still be a bodybuilder, because after this, the world is going to be against him if he just decides to jump into another show or do the Olympia again. All right, Xavier. If you think you could, if you could give Martin any advice, what would it be at this point?
Man, well, he's obviously lost his contracts. So that's a financial hit to him, but I think he made probably 75K off this Arnold or something like that for his 4th place finish. So, I mean. He put out that post saying that like you got what you wanted and stuff like that. I mean, at this point, if I was him, I'd be like, look, he's made pretty decent money the last couple of years. Like Fuad said, he's paid him 100K. He was only with Fuad for what was it, 12,
not 18
very
months,
or something. Yeah. So if he's paid him 100K US or whatever in that period of time, plus Martin made some pretty good prize money, placing well at the Olympia. He did that Detroit Pro where he got what was it? $30,000, 28 grand. So he's made some good bank over the last bit. If I was him, I would be like, okay, I'm not signing with anyone for a little bit. I'm sure he's got some money saved up unless he's blown it or something.
I was going to say,
would just stay away.
If he's this irrational emotionally, you don't know how he's going to be with money. You know, I'm not saying he's broke. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's a big if.
But also, guys, not to interrupt.
Get in.
I was going to say, not to interrupt, but he's in Texas. It's a no state tax state. So he's going to make money even more. Yeah. So if you're in Texas, Florida, any of those,
there's no
money that you're going to get, it goes out a much bigger price.
Much long way than in New York, New Jersey. Yeah, you're 100% right.
What about with prize money?
Okay. I'm sorry, Xavier. Go ahead.
Just with prize money, if he makes it in Columbus, he's still taxed in Texas, right?
You know what? I'm not sure.
I don't know if they call that the entertainment tax. So I know with football players and anybody who plays pro sports, they have a thing called entertainment tax. So you get taxed for both the state you play in and the state you live in.
And don't
I know that for a fact.
And don't think they don't have a ton of write-offs, you know. I mean, I remember I talked to Jason Owens and King Kamali about it, and they have a ton of write-offs. Because when you get a lump sum like that, one lump sum, it's usually in the States, generally speaking, usually getting taxed 48%. So you're coming home with half of that. But if you have a lot of write-offs, it could definitely help. So,
hey John, can I say? Sorry,
no, well, look, these guys probably have these. They probably have these checks made out, not to them personally, but to whatever LLC that they have set up in whatever state they so choose, right? So, I mean, they may be
ways around
taxes from that.
Yeah,
you could be in Florida, you could compete in Florida, but I mean, who's check being made out to? Well, it's a company in Texas. Okay, I don't know how it works in the United States. Maybe because it was earned in Florida, it would be taxed at a Florida rate, but I have no idea. But there's a good chance that there's
right though. You're 100% right.
Yeah, there would be an LLC set up, and that's who the check is being cut to, right?
That's saying that he did that. And, you know, that's if he has good financial advisors, if he has good accountants, that's saying that he did that. We don't know if he did that.
Kenson's
Best
giving
case
bodybuilders
scenario.
too much
No.
credit.
Yeah. It would be very difficult. Yeah. I mean,
You
I
might be
don't
right.
know.
You might
You
be
know.
right. I don't know.
But you're
You might be right.
100% right. Yeah. You're 100% right about that. Oh God. All right. This was like a crazy fucking weekend, you know? It was just unbelievable. This will die down, but it's going to take probably a solid week till we get to Detroit to see what the hell is going on. So who's going to be in Detroit so far? So I think, is Bonnick doing Detroit?
No. I just
so I
posted
heard
the list.
Blessing.
Blessing is.
I know.
Yeah.
We just spoke about him.
Mofuda?
Fuda's
Anthony
in it.
Williams.
Mofuda, Blessing.
No, he just pulled out.
Who did?
Anthony Williams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
did he?
he did pull out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Patrick Moore is doing it. Nathan Epler's coming back. Aaron Golly from Canada. Ron Gordon's coming back. Leandro Perez, he's one to watch out for. He's got a really good physique. So, yeah, you know, you're watching out for your Blessings and your Muhammad photos. You want to see what Patrick Moore is going to do, of course. Leandro Perez is one to watch out for.
Patrick Moore is doing it?
Yes.
Yeah, Patrick Moore's doing it. Yeah. He doesn't look too bad. He doesn't look too bad. Too bad. Look, it's like we were talking about, John. Proper expectations, okay? Proper expectations.
Right.
He doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. Xavier, what's going on?
I'm Brandon Curry. I'm jumping in.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Brandon
Listen,
Curry.
Dylan, everyone's mad at you, okay?
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what's happening with Dylan. Dylan's been calling like people's girlfriends foids, which I didn't even know what that meant, and I thought he meant it means like girlfriend. But then I found out it's some derogatory term, and then I looked online. I'm like, is any way this used in a positive term? And it's like, no. But then I think Dylan has his own way of expressing his love for people and affection. Because my girlfriend's very supportive of Dylan and his channel and stuff like that. So I feel like it's you know, when you like someone, but you sort of. But he said he meant it in a non-derogatory way, and he's been messaging me, so I've got to get back to him.
Yeah. I got a insult today, and I got an insult today. Somebody called me rice bread, and I messaged him back, and I was like, well, what did you know? I was like sincerely want to know explain how that's an insult. I don't know, because he said something like it, because I didn't have Andrew Jack winning, and he said something to the effect of, if you don't think Andrew Jack win, just say that you're a Nick you're a Nick fan, rice bread. And I'm like, wow, what does that mean? Has anybody ever heard of that? I don't know what that means.
No, I like it though.
I've heard that one
Rice
before.
bread, yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely a rice bread guy.
I want to eat some
know
rice
what the
bread.
fuck that means.
I think it's a good thing.
I know what Italian is an
100%.
expression. I know in Italian is an expression, and the translation is you're a piece of bread, but that means that you're soft like bread. So if like you don't have a backbone, people walk all over you. I don't know if rice bread means the same thing. I have no idea. So I actually asked him, and I'm still waiting for him to message me back. I'd really like to know.
I looked up rice bread meaning, and it says rice bread is a gluten-free alternative to traditional wheat bread. That's all I got.
Okay, I don't know.
Sounds like a compliment.
No clue. No idea. So some of the insults are just really good.
No, I was gonna say, when do you think the Detroit list is gonna? I was gonna say, when do you think the Detroit list is gonna come out?
Probably by Tuesday or Wednesday.
Is it out? No, it's out now.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram if you want to check it out.
Oh, let me see. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. All right.
Fuad was saying there's a chance. What's his name? Mike. Who was talking about before? Mike Summerfield.
Mike
would,
Summerfield.
We
Yeah.
mentioned that.
He's not on the
we
list
go.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not on
Let's
the
see.
list.
Here we go. Blessing. Derek Dongner. Jesus Christ, that's a porn name if I ever heard one. Nate Epler. That's actually okay.
Nate Epler's good, man.
Yeah. Mo Fuda, Irene Gawley, Ronald Gordon, Chris Jones, Abu Kanodi, I had no idea. Walter Martin, Elias McCall, Christopher Miller, Patrick Moore, Leandro Perez, and Anthony Williams. All right,
good
well,
guys in that list that don't have big names. I've
Yeah,
got to say,
a lot
like
of-
Leandro Perez from Brazil is really, really good. He's up against good Vito, got second last year.
yeah,
There's
Kensington.
Aaron Gooley. I think he said he put on like something crazy, like 20 pounds, and he's shredded and like 6'1" and really big. There's Nate Epler, like he's been a top 5 guy in the 212 in the past, and he always looks way bigger than he is on stage. There's a bunch of guys that I'm trying to remember the one you said.
And here's
a bunch
the
of guys
league.
that don't have a big name but look good.
Well, I'd like to see the new guys coming up. You know, I like to see the new guys coming up because you could really tell who really has potential and who doesn't. So I enjoy seeing the new guys coming up. So the guys with no names, sometimes, you know, you don't know who they are because they might be from another country or they might have just turned pro or whatever. And then they show up on the scene. You're like, damn, who the fuck is that guy? But Wesley is doing the Detroit and Classic. So there's another victory for him. I don't know who else. Doesn't look like there's any other major names on here. I'm also not very.
There's Ethan Gohari.
3 weeks.
Say that again, Ian.
I said Wesley might have 3 wins in 3 weeks because he also is doing the Arnold UK.
Yeah, and you know what? I hope he does. I've turned into a fan of. I'm not a big classic physique guy, but I've turned into a fan of Wesley because he's another guy that, you know, has come from behind several times and really has made himself into a real top elite classic physique. And he showed hard work, grit, ambition. And there were times where he came in and he was off, but he seems to have found the formula and fixed it. And, you know, he never pouted, never complained, never bitched, never moaned. He just was a consummate professional and right back to the drawing board and right back to the gym and fucking did what he had to do to improve. And that's what you want to see from these guys. That's what you want to see from any competitive athlete. You don't want to see a Martin freak out, or you don't want to see a Hadi Chupin deciding he's going to retire and then 3 hours later going, all right, I overreacted. I'm not retiring. You know, you don't. It is what it is. But one more thing, Xavier, the best part about your video that you did that I watched this morning was showing the interview with Martin and Dave Palumbo. And I brought it up before. I brought it up before, and I said, "Talk about gaslighting." My God.
Yeah, well, he's saying all of us are so sensitive. There's like a lot of hypocrisy in what he says. Like he says, "Oh, they're so sensitive," and he's wanting to get it on ESPN and whatnot, and saying that we don't report it right. And then, so I featured in my video all these ESPN reporters going after like athletes way harder than we go after athletes generally, like, you know, well, me at least anyway, and same as Kenson as well. Like Kenson and I are, I think, pretty measured and pretty fair pretty much all the time. And I've had conversations with Kenson on the phone, and we've talked, like, Kenson's like, I don't want to buy part of a drama. Like I don't want to put that video out or whatever. It's, you know, if it plays on your mind at all, I think, then you have to just be like, no, I'm not going to do it. You got other people as well that will just be like hunting drama non-stop, and then they're like, I'm going to sensationalize it way, way more. Now you got to do the clickbait and stuff, but there's a line there. And I think with Martin, it's like, I think it will die down soon because like he's copped so much hate that it's like it'll simmer down. But yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy and stuff in what Martin said there. And I'm
it's like I said, Xavier, is it similar to having an argument with your ex-wife? Like when they just, like, it's like gaslight. It's like, you know, they're telling you're the problem, and you go, "What the fuck did I do? Jesus Christ!"
Oh, dude, I got so much of that gaslighting. It was insane, like to a point where, because I was so surrounded by, because it was, you know, family life, so I was so busy, I didn't have much outside interaction outside of my bodybuilding stuff. But it was like you start to think you're going mental, and you start, like, they try to make you think that you're the problem. And as someone like Kenson as well, like someone who's empathetic, you start to try to see the other person's point of view. You start to go like that. And I think the reason why sometimes people that like Martin, I don't want to say like Martin, like my ex, it sounds like I'm comparing a cancer fraud and someone that's like so awful to Martin. But people sometimes like that have personality
disorders,
personality like that, disorders, whatever you want to say. They will come after people like me to intimidate or to try to turn the narrative or whatever. And I think that's why I got that message from Martin specifically, because I don't think you'd send it to like a Nathan Diasher, a Fuad Abiad, a Dave Palumbo or anything like that, because he knows they're not going to fuck around. But that's why I think I needed to stand up for myself and say something, and I couldn't contact him in any means
Right.
because otherwise
I'm glad you
away
did
with
it.
that.
I'm glad you did it. I am, because there's got to come a point where you go, I'm not dealing with this bullshit anymore. If you're gonna act like this, I'm calling you out. And you have a huge public platform. It just made it even worse. I don't know. Does he have a girlfriend? His poor girlfriend. Dear God, could you imagine what she's going through? Holy shit!
Arnold. She did the Arnold. She got, I think, 3rd place in the wellness. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Ian, thank you so much, friend. I really appreciate you coming on.
Anytime.
Nice to meet Ian too.
Nice to meet you, Xavier.
Oh yeah, you guys don't know it. You guys haven't been on the podcast together. Ian has a great channel. It's
John,
called
you're so rude.
I'm sorry. I know. Really, I'm a real asshole. Jesus
he's just rice bread. That's what he's rice bread.
I'm rice bread. I guess
rice
that's
bread.
what I mean. Yeah. Rice bread.
Now we
means
know
I'm
the
a
definition.
Yeah. He's got a great channel, Xavier. It's called Ian Heydecke. I'll send you the link. The link, it's Heydecke. It's just the Ian Heydecke channel. It's a fantastic channel. There's a lot of gym footage, going to different gyms, gym coverage. I mean, supplement coverage. It's a great channel. Kenson, thank you for jumping on, man, and I thank you for helping me out. And Xavier, always an honor, always a pleasure, man. I appreciate you guys coming on. Great show. Fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Really smooth without psychopath on it, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, it's Psycho.
We
will be
lovely.
back Wednesday. Oh, God. All right, guys. Have a good night, man.
All right, you
catch
too.
you, man.
Later, man.
Later, fellas.
Later, guys.